we generated around 560 plus million impressions organically. There was
creating property cards for the first time for people owning houses in the rural areas.
We have a patent on a bits technology, which...
But we were really guided by what we wanted it to be.
In terms of the content consumption pattern has changed.
Very competitive, very crowded.
The objective is basically to democratize cancer care.
I see a very bright future for retail industry.
Technology now allows us to scale up.
We also want to help patients become more compliant.
If I look at the custom solutions market, it's almost about $1,500 billion.
Your customers will not continue to be with you if you don't change gear.
We had adopted digitalization much earlier.
Within a very short span of time, we are the number one operator in whole of South India.
If you are reaching out to a lakh people today, you would be reaching out to an entire globe tomorrow.
We got those two brands and then immediately got into a few of the LFRs and there was no looking back.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 42nd episode of Ascent Talks. My name is Ajit and I have been an Ascent member for over 10 years, and I lead Nova, an air conditioning company, and Pure Blue, a tech-enabled startup in the air conditioning domain. My co-host Aleem is not in today. Hopefully, he will catch up with us somewhere during the show. But Aleem runs a marketing and advertising agency. And hopefully, I look forward to him to joining us in some time. But for all of you who are joining us for the first time, Ascent is a non-profit organization that helps entrepreneurs grow their business. It was founded by Harsh Mariwala in 2012, Chairman Marico Limited, and has helped over 850 entrepreneurs. Ascent's key feature is its trust groups, where entrepreneurs can share experiences and ideas. Ascent Talks is hosted weekly to showcase the journey of its members. So to introduce to you our guest today is Reetesh Dhingra. Hi, Reetesh.
Hi, Ajit. Hi, everyone.
Great. Welcome to the show, Reetesh. And to all our friends who's here, Reetesh is an industry veteran with unparalleled FMCG experience. Reetesh Dhingra is the co-founder of Viz, one of India's fastest growing brands for personal care and hygiene products, a subsidiary of Cossmic products, a brand renowned for its extensive experience, focus, and expertise in high quality, affordable personal care and hygiene products since 1978. At Viz, Reetesh spearheads the strategy and finance departments and oversees new product development, envisioning Viz to become an established brand and a household name across India by next year. Reetesh aims to see the brand as one of the top companies in the FMCG personal care space. Furthermore, he looks to nurture Viz into a brand that grows on the back of its employees, where everyone contributes to the growth. Wow, that's amazing, Reetesh. Reetesh, first question first. I mean, a lot of questions when you come in, somebody who's getting into the FMCG space, that also with a brand. But I guess before we get into that, why don't you tell us a little about your business? Tell us from your side, what is Cossmic, what is products, what is Viz, right. How did it come across? Please, let's hear that from you.
So I'll just take you all through my journey as such. I began, finished my MBA in marketing, got into advertising for about like 5-6 months, was pulled into the family business. So my family business has always been about personal care manufacturing. So as soon as I got into business, being from kind of like a job background, was put into my first factory, which was in Lucknow. We had a couple of factories at that time, Lucknow and Mumbai. So Lucknow factory I was running for about 5-6 years. It was like a punishment posting kind of a thing where, okay, I go run this factory in this place, Lucknow, being a Bombay boy, running it over there. Clawed my way back into the Mumbai factory. So got into my dad's good books and started working in Mumbai. We launched hand wash during 2004-05. Very interestingly, hand wash was still to take off in the country. we coined the word Wiz, and we established it as a brand. And from there, I think we not look back. We've been growing Wiz. So we have a Wiz hand wash, a body wash, a hand sanitizer, wet wipes. We are just getting into paper disposables now. We have plans for color cosmetics going forward. So I think it's been interesting. FMCG is a fun space. I think the beauty of FMCG is everybody interacts with it every day. Your market is unlimited. Everybody is your customer, right from the person walking on the street to a boardroom guy. Anybody and everybody is your customer. So it's one of the most interesting industries ever. So it's been good fun.
We all understand. We all understand. There's nothing like being in the roti kapda makan kind of a stuff.
Yeah.
Where you have to live with it. That's great. But we also know that this field is all about big daddies, right? You've got the Levers, you've got the Procter and Gamble. How do you take on these guys? Yeah, isn't that intimidating? And how does that happen? I mean, how do you prepare yourself to take on this guy? It's like the David versus Goliath story, right, of yours. And you got these huge, large multinationals who control literally the entire market. And then you come in. How does that work for you guys?
So art of war. So at the end of the day, you do not go head on with these guys. So every big company will leave these white spaces somewhere, right? So you tap into that. Yeah. See, at the end, you're into a business. You're here to make money. At the end of the day, that's your priority, right? You want to establish a brand, make it big. They always leave these white spaces. Yeah. And again, good thing about Goliaths is they are slow movers. They cannot be as agile as you. There is space. Till the time you do not become one of them, you have enough agility to move around and make it. Another thing is there is a lot of cost involved, yeah, for these guys to launch a brand. To give you an example, say hand sanitizer. Everybody knows about hand sanitizer. What happened in 2020? But how many brands were there before 2020? There were two brands. It all in a life voice here. I had a sanitizer since 2008, and I was enjoying the market. I was doing tremendous sales. I was competing with these two guys before COVID happened, right? So again, they leave these white spaces where you can always make a brand, create something of value. It's pretty easy. Yeah? It's fun. The bigger the brand, also what you get to do is you can piggyback on these guys. Yeah, they advertise, you sell. That's a beautiful strategy to do.
I love this attitude, but I mean, let them create the space. I'll just piggy ride with them and actually just fill those blank spots for them.
Of course.
Yeah, that's a great way to get started. But tell me something, we know this is a huge market, but it's also an overcrowded market. There are a lot of regional players, there are a lot of small players. What are the kind of opportunities this industry holds, especially for Indian entrepreneurs? Say for somebody who's got like there are a lot of niche personal care products that's coming, and if there are quite a few of our entrepreneurs who are listening to it, what are the opportunities that this industry holds?
See, one thing we need to understand: India is a mass market. We are a developing country. Not everybody can afford products, so there is a huge space in terms of good quality products at reasonable price. The premium market is very, very small. So again, FMCG is very, very big, but it is very, very basic. It's grassroots level. The thing is, if you want to make a big brand, you need to get down to selling to the common man. You cannot be like, okay, listen, I'm going to put ABC into my shampoo and say, oh wow, this is going to be super product, and expect there to be a actual TAM out there. So at the end of the day, it is a huge market, but a very, very cost conscious, and we're a poor country at the end of the day. So we need to look at the common man who can afford these products.
Tell me something. You are also into a lot of contract manufacturing, right? You didn't speak about that while you've got your own brand. How did that journey happen, and how big is that, and how do you go about building that brand?
So we have our manufacturing facilities in Palghar. So we offer these facilities to more or less everybody out there. We have customers like Reliance Retail, Spencer's, Zepto. You name the retailer we work with. We work with Flipkart of the world. We work with most of these. So I remember you asking me this question early on. Is like OEM or brand? What is it gonna be? So that question I told you at that time has haunted me right through, right? So I was telling you about in 2017 when I joined Ascent, and I got one of these power up sessions with Mr. Harsh Pariwala. My first question was to him was exactly the same thing: do I create a brand or do I keep doing OEM? I got a very simple answer, right? Okay, so OEM, if you're making good money, continue doing OEM. If you have a lot of money to spare, create a brand. So I think I took back that pretty well. And now what I've done is I use OEM to fund my brand building. So it is more or less OEM business gets me funds where I can create. See, at the end, it's exactly for say a services company. It is exactly either you keep doing services or you do a product. Same thing is OEM or brand. So product will always get you value. A brand will always get you value. So you need to create a brand. So my OEM business services this. Yeah.
Amazing. So you actually took over this business. It's a family business. You're second generation into the business. What are the kind of significant changes that you brought in? Because I'm sure this was a very traditional small business which your dad built. What are the big changes that you actually brought about once you got into the whole business? And tell us a little experience about your Lucknow factory. I mean, this is Lucknow factory is like what, 20 years ago, 25 years ago?
2000 I started. Yeah. So 23 years ago. Yeah.
That must be crazy. You must tell us about that whole journey of what happened in that Lucknow factory. And then I'm sure you very immediately said that, I crawl back to Mumbai as soon as possible.
So it started with me joining advertising and kind of like partying a lot. So at the end of the day, so dad got involved. It's like, okay, now enough of this. You have to join the family business. And it was a fairly big business at that time. So we had a factory in Lucknow. We had a factory in Mumbai. So first thing was like, okay, listen, you're not staying in Mumbai. You have too many friends here. You go to Lucknow and you are around. And so being a Mumbai guy, you never get to see different seasons and other things. Then you're in middle of December, like the fog lifts around 11:30. You get to the factory at 11:30, and it's again foggy at 4 o'clock. So what do you do for next 18 to 20 hours? It was a huge experience. I think that built me as a person in terms of interacting with the labor there. So I've always been a very hands-on guy. So it was building those relationships with my sales team, going to these district level, going to places like Bareilly and Nanpara and all, which is like Nepal border, middle of the night, crazy stuff. It was an experience. Yeah. From there, of course, I had to come back to Mumbai somewhere. So that experience I got back here, and there were very good opportunities in Mumbai itself to in FMCG. See, FMCG you can do it anywhere. FMCG is like something which you can enjoy and do anywhere, right? You can be in UAE and you can create a big brand there. So FMCG is something. It is where you are, you can create a market there. So I got into Mumbai. I told you about the hand wash story, slowly and steadily. Hand wash story has a twist in it. In 2000, we started building the brand. We were doing very well. So 2005-06, modern retail started happening. We started getting listed in all of these stores. We were listed in DMart or Reliance. We were top selling SKU in Reliance for quite a few months. We were doing amazingly good business. Then suddenly all the modern retailers started realizing, hey, listen, this brand does well. We can create a private label here. So that's where from a brand, I started having these meetings. Is listen, we want to keep two national brands. That's Lifebuoy and Dettol, and the third brand should be a private label. So either you start making private label for us, or we're going to delist Wiz anyways. So I think from there I took it off. Okay, like this is a good opportunity creating private labels for these guys. Yeah, good money, low hanging fruit, not much to do. Create the product, manufacture, send truckloads. They take care of sales. So yeah, that's where that journey is happened. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. So it's like let the factories keep running, let it keep producing, and let's build scale with this kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Amazing. But building this brand was or building the OEM business or building a factory in UP and then in Bombay and getting it is never an easy. Tell us as an entrepreneur, what are the challenges that you faced here? I mean, and that's something that every entrepreneur wants to know, how easy was it? How difficult was it? Tell us some of those stories and of those challenges that you faced.
So manufacturing is difficult. It is manufacturing is not easy. You're handling a lot of dynamics here. You have 150 labor in your factory. You have regulations you have to follow. You go through these massive audits. If you're working with big companies, you're going through massive audits, which happen once or twice every week. Yeah. So challenges are many. Luckily, I've got out of the day to day, so I just look at from the outside now and let my team run that. To give you a story, challenges. Let's talk about COVID, right?
Yeah.
That's where most of the people would think, listen, that would be the most easy part. You are in the midst. You've been making sanitizers for 10 years. You're in the midst of hyper growth. People are lining up to buy it. There are not enough producers. This is the best opportunity any company can get, right? You are in the middle of hyper growth. It was the most challenging time of my life. Honestly, I have never faced a bigger challenge in my life. I was more or less hands off. At that time, I had to jump into the company again and run this remotely. It was lockdown. We actually used to have physically a police vehicle go through every factory, shut off all the factory, come park it outside a factory and say, "Boss, तुम्हारा factory 24 घंटे चलना चाहिए." It should not shut off. Now in that time, everybody's sitting at home, right? So grass is greener, so I envy those people sitting at home, right? uh, uh, I am here organizing people into the factory. One, getting the labor in, getting material out. Let's not. I'm not even getting into the politics of it. I'm not talking about the number of favors you have to do. Trying to satisfy each and every customer in terms of, listen, everybody is wanting that growth, right? Everybody wants to sell. Every retailer of mine suddenly is super active, saying like, listen, you make sanitizer, we are supposed to be your priority. See, at the end, we all marketing people, right? So at the end, we market to a customer, you are my priority and no one else is. But at this point, who is your priority? You cannot work with you cannot satisfy everybody. You want to get out of bad contracts, you want to get into good contracts. The world is thinking you're making crazy money. So yeah, let's make some crazy money. It's not just do the run of the mill thing. So I have had sleepless nights for about 6 months. My trust group would tell you what kind of a state I was in, but their support, family support, I think just got through it, and it's fun. Yeah, at the end, you have to take business as fun. Yeah, if you're not enjoying business, you have no right to do it. Yeah? Enjoy it.
Yeah. But Ritesh, tell me something, how do you actually end up deciding which product? Because personal hygiene and personal care is such a wide range. I mean, how do you actually start designing? Okay, we got sanitizers, we've got wet wipes, we've got, I don't know, your range is a pretty wide range. So how do you actually end up deciding which brand, which product, or which SKU types to go around? Is there a science behind it?
So honestly, see, this is applicable to every entrepreneur. When you're close to your business and you have enough experience, you get this thing of intuiting what is going to happen. We call it intuition, but it's more or less experience, right? So before things happen, they're going to happen. If you are in touch with your business, you're at the grassroots level, you're understanding day-to-day business, everything you understand, you're able to predict what is going to happen. So to give you an example, when sanitizers was big, right? So we started stockpiling raw materials and packaging material in this was in 2020 January. This was before the lockdown hit and before COVID hit India, because we got signs from, say, Singapore suddenly importing sanitizers from India to Singapore, which was pretty strange, and this was getting routed to China. So again, you knew the signs were out there. So we were very well prepared for it. Then by August 2020, when people were getting into my industry, I was getting out of it. So I remember one of my biggest customers came to me and like giving a huge projection, saying that, listen, September, October, November, we're going to do this X amount of sanitizer. I'm like, listen, I am going to give you what I have. I'm not going to invest in any new machinery, nothing. And I'm telling you, this is not going to work. He's like, no, listen, our marketing team has given this projection. You better do it. I had a fight with him. I was like, listen, you go to some other vendor. I am not doing this. I'm not going to get stuck with your raw material. See, it's very easy for you to give me a projection, a purchase order. You can cancel that purchase order very easily.
Yeah.
So by August 2020, we were building our hand wash capacities instead of doing hand sanitizers. So 2021, we were riding the wave of hand washes, because we knew, hand sanitizer was never a good product for our country. It is basic alcohol. At the end of the day, you have dirt and grime. At the end of the day, when you come home, your hands are dirty. It's not just bacteria and viruses on them. They're dirty. You need to wash your hands. So 2021, we were working on hand washes at that time. By 21, I knew hand washes, like everybody was getting into it. So now the next step is, now what is going to be big? So my next bet is on paper disposals. That's what we got into now. We just put up a new factory for tissues, napkins, paper cups, all these products. I think this is going to be the next big wave. Next two. So again, when you're deep into your business, you can intuit this. This is a very, very simple way to, the experience comes out, and people say, "Oh, listen, you knew about it." I was like, "No, I don't know. I know my business, right?"
Amazing.
There's no
Too
science
good,
to
yeah.
it. It's just an experience.
Yeah, it's just that it's your domain expertise. You just live and breathe, and that's what you do. So you know it just very well because that's all what you do for a living.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But Ritesh, tell me something. I want you to tell us something about you always treated your dad as a mentor who's actually helped you get into the business, and he's bought you his son to take over the business. But what you've done is you've got a professional to actually run the business. So tell us about this mentorship and the strategic shift that you had is where you bought professionals to run the business. Take us through that.
Right. So I'll take you through the history. Right. So as soon as I joined business, so dad, I was held by my dad right through. Right. So in the beginning, I'll tell you a episode. First week of my work in Lucknow and coming out of Mumbai and being kind of like a techie, wanted to do my own stuff. Right. So I end up having an office and I need a PC, so I call for 2-3 quotes and I get a quote. Right. And it's too expensive. I was like, oh, listen, I used to go to Lamington Road, pick up my parts, and I used to assemble it at half the price. So I can do the same thing here. So I end up buying these parts and I'm assembling it for like 8-9 hours. My dad comes to me and, listen, what are you doing? I was like, I had all the time in the world and I'm saving $20,000 and why not? Yeah, let me do this. He's like, listen, it's not about you doing this. You're wasting your time. I said, I didn't have anything else to do. He's like, no, the time you would have spent being completely away from your business, just being blank, that is the time you're thinking of your growth, you're thinking of your business. It's that time when you're not doing anything, that is the time. So entrepreneur is always, we might work 2-3 hours, but we think 24 hours. You spend most of the time thinking about your business and what you're going to do about it, and just that, right? So that was my first step where I learned this in terms of, listen, being completely free is not bad. It is good for your business. Second thing, I was in a conference where the bigwigs of my industry were there, Mr. Godrej and people from HUL and other things. And by that time, this was 2014, I was hands-on into business and I was doing everything. But like I was in between the seminar, I'm getting calls from the factory or salespeople, is that I'm going out and talking and coming back. And I'm like, okay, listen, I run my business this way, right? So, but I saw none of these guys ever walked out. They run 1,000 times bigger businesses than me, right? They do not go out to pick up calls and other things. So on the flight back, I was like, listen, first thing I need to do is get out of answering calls. Now, how do I do this? Why is it important for me to know everything what is happening in the factory, sales? Why do I need to get into everything? So I made a list of things to do. I was like, listen, I'm not going to pick up any calls. If there's a call coming in today, I'm going to delegate it to someone else. It's like, this call should never come back to me. Things like that, yeah. So I started building it up from there. So by 2018, I got into the Stanford Seed course, and the first thing we learned over there is post-heroic leadership. Very interesting concept, right? So it's like you really do not want to be in decision making also day to day. Yeah? You should have people to do that. At the end of the day, my value in my company is not that I run day-to-day operations. I answer a few mails. I answer calls. See, decision making is important for the company. What do you do every day? You answer mails, you do phone calls, you do tasks, you do decisions. Yeah. Can this be delegated? Then what I'll end up doing is nothing but just think of where the company is going and what is the future of the company. So I said, okay, fine, listen, maybe my next generation, I have a daughter. So maybe she gets into business, maybe she does not. But at the end of the day, she should be doing what she loves, right? And for me, it is very, very essential that I give her something which is self-run and she can do whatever she wants. Whether she takes over the business, there are people reporting to her, that's it. Not day-to-day operations. Day-to-day operations, somewhere you lose out on the bigger picture. Yeah.
Wow, amazing, man. And so that's actually building. And so when did you actually get into professionals into the whole to your own company?
So 2018, I think first week of Stanford, I do that Stanford Seed course. I come back and I start looking around for a CEO. I was like, listen, I have more or less delegated
Return on investment. Return on investment on Stanford seed program. Seed program karke aaya, that's it. Let's implement quickly.
That's it, right? So luckily, I had a friend who was looking for a change and other things, and he joined me. After that, we started building a team under him, and now everybody reports to him. If there's very something crucial, then it comes to my table. Otherwise, it does not. I speak to him like once in a week. I do not go to my factory regularly. I am involved, but I am on the outside. I have to think of what is going to happen a year down the line, or 2 years down the line, 5 years. I cannot be doing day-to-day activity and still be able to think that, right? That's the way I think. Yeah.
So the Stanford seed actually happened through Ascent for you?
Parallelly, yeah. I not exactly. Yeah. At the same time, I got both the mails. So a friend of mine had done the first cohort of seed. The guy who got me into who recommended Ascent to me, the same guy recommended Stanford seed to me. So I liked Ascent, so I did the seed there.
Amazing. But tell us about your Ascent journey here. What's it been with Ascent? How do you get into Ascent, and what's been the journey like now over the last 5-6 years?
So I lost my dad in 2017. So so when you are in a second generation business and you rely on your father so much, and so it's like you go into a meeting, you come out of meeting, you speak to dad, and it's basically you speak to him like 4-5 times a day. So I was slightly lost. I used to play squash with a buddy of mine. He was I think one of the founding members. He was in one of these trust groups early on. So he saw what I was going through in terms of not having a mentor and not having someone to speak about business. See, I have a brother. I can speak to him anything, right? But there are certain things which you need outside view, and somewhere that was lagging. So he recommended Ascent to me. I got in. Amazing trust group. We gelled from day one. We are like buddies. Really, really good stuff. They are my sounding board. They help me emotionally. There are so many things good about Ascent. So I love the line of Ascent which says like, okay, the entrepreneurial journey is a very lonely one, and you need people around you. So yeah, so that's what exactly I was going through, and this is what's happened after that. Yeah, so it's super. Yeah.
Too good. So Reetesh, before we actually wind up, we've got just about 2-3 minutes to go. We'd like to know a little personal side. Forget about the business. Tell us a little about your personal hobbies, your family. Just tell us who you are, man.
So personally, hobbies, I love cycling, and I love playing squash. To not very good at it, but yeah, enjoy it, right? So I love listening to podcasts, and I'll just put on a podcast and go cycling right from Santa Cruz to Gateway of India, and I'll reach and I'll come back.
Wow.
It is super fun. It's more of a hobby. It's these two sports I just love, and I spend most of the time doing that. In terms of family, I have a daughter. We are like those modern joint families. We are not like those big joint families. We are like 8-member family. So my brother is I have a brother who's in a separate business. He runs Oris IT services and Oris IoT. Super businesses. It's like a daily routine. Like me, my mom, and my brother have team together every single day. So it's like that's where we speak to each other, get along. My wife Manisha, she runs the brand Viz. Again, delegated it to her. Let her run that. Yeah. So I have a CEO who runs the factory, the manufacturing, the OEM operations. My wife Manisha runs the brand. My daughter is 16. She's in 11th grade right now, planning to do design, and she does not seem interested to get into business, to take over the business. So yeah,
at 16, give her a break. Yeah, at 16, nobody knows what to do. I know, figured it out till the age of 30 what to do in life.
So she's more inclined towards design, and so I'm pushing her to get into product design. So at least it's similar to what I do. So hopefully she will.
I hope she's listening to you, dude. There's a hidden agenda here. Now, if she's advising you, there's a hidden agenda coming in.
I'll make sure she doesn't listen to this anyway.
Yeah, but it's amazing, man. It's great to hear about your family. It's nice. It's lovely how you're actually professionalizing and you're taking on the big guys. This has been fantastic. Actually, I've known you for a very long time. We've been friends for maybe what 15, 20 years, 15 years. I think we've known each other. But it's amazing how you've seen yourself transform and how you build a business. Thank you so much for taking time out and actually being with us and sharing the story with us. Thank you very much, Reetesh.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. All right, guys. So this was another fantastic story, little about the David Goliath kind of a story that you heard about. But the optimism that listen, I'll ride on them. Let them create the market. I'll ride on them and I'll build the business. So an awesome story. So guys, we are at the end of the show. So if you are one of those entrepreneurs who love our shows, please share it. Share it to another friend. It's a great conversation starter. But if you are growth ready and you want to be part of the Ascent cohort, then get onto this website, ascentfoundation.in, put in an application, and the Ascent team will get in touch with you. And if you truly are growth ready, we would be happy to have you as part of our cohort. So thank you very much. We are end of our 42nd episode, and we'll see you next Friday at 11 a.m. with another interesting Ascent entrepreneur journey. Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye, guys.